Yeah, I'm at home. I'm on the couch watching TV right now.
Oh, gotcha. How much 90 Day Fiance do you watch?
I had actually never watched it until this past season because I feel like I mean, it's been showing, I think, for a few years, but then I started seeing on the internet. And so after constantly seeing that in my feed, I was like, let me just check out this show. So I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of this past.
Once you get into it, it gets addicting.
Yeah, it does. It's a good show. I like it.
Yeah. So you just started watching the newest season?
I'm not sure which. I think it was before the 90 days because there's like a whole bunch of spin-offs, I think. Uh, but it was the season that Yolanda was on. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just give me a minute because I'm shadow banned and I had to send all my notifications out to the other blog pages.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people they like to report my memes and stuff.
Oh,
So,
fortunate.
yeah. Are you're over in Chicago, right?
Yes, I'm in Chicago. Yeah.
What part?
About 1 mile west of Wrigley Field, so just outside of Wrigleyville.
Okay. I lived in Chicago for only a couple months or so.
What
So
part?
I don't. It's just south of downtown, but and not far from the airports, both
Oh,
airports. Yeah,
I missed it then.
yeah. So I lived over there for a little while. Chi-town is bomb, he said.
I like Chicago. There's a lot of traffic and a lot of congestion, but because of the pandemic, everything's kind of chilled out a little, so the traffic's not as bad and it's a little easier to get around. But yeah, it's a cool city. I like it.
Yeah. Um, so let me just make sure. If you got a notification that I went live, press 1 in the chat, or if you did not, just press 2 because I just want to know if I'm still shadow banned or not. People keep reporting my stuff. It's ridiculous, man. Let me tell you. I'll even repost somebody else's stuff and I'll get reported for that too.
That's crazy. I don't understand why people job.
Yeah. And I got a list of questions here. Let me just make sure there's 19 people. I was expecting a lot more than this. Wow. No, let me just go ahead with it because then I could save the live.
All right,
And if you want, you can repost it on your page.
cool.
What's your background? How'd you get into reality and what have you been doing the last few years?
Well, my background really is law. I hadn't been in entertainment or anything, and in 2010 I went to law school. Oliver, stop! Sorry, my cat's going crazy. He's ridiculous. And so in my last year of law school, I started dancing, and then in my second year of dancing, I had a casting director ask me if I wanted to be on a show. So then I did the Bachelorette, and after the Bachelorette, I kept dancing. Graduated law school, continued to dance, and then I stopped dancing about 2.5 years ago. So
No. So you got your start dancing in Chicago?
yeah, downtown Chicago, in right by Rock and Roll McDonald's in River North. We had a show every Saturday there, and then I would do private parties, and I danced in other states too, Wisconsin, things like that. So I did it for about 5.5 years.
Oh wow. Um, and did you ever do it in like Las Vegas or anything like the bigger places?
Didn't ever end up doing it in Las Vegas. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Timmons, but he's one of the lead singers of 98 Degrees, and he had
Mhm.
it on the called Men of the Strip, and they had a residency there in Vegas, and so he reached out to me and wanted me to dance with them But after like a year and a half of us talking, it never came to fruition. So I've never danced in Vegas, but I have been there multiple times.
I see. Um, so after you got done dancing, are you currently, what is it, doing law?
No, I don't do law. Instagram's been nice to me. I have a fairly large following, so
Mm-hmm.
that's allowed me to do a lot of collaborations and partnerships. So I have a short line that's coming out with a group called Thigh Huggers, which is my best friend started it. So I have my own pair of shorts, and those will be live here in the next week or two. Um,
You wearing them now?
no, I'm not wearing them now. He actually just sent me the print design that was finished last week, and we're just waiting on it to be shipped to me. Um, but yeah, so I have my own line of shorts, and then just my brand and partnership collaborations as well. So
Oh, okay. And have you ever been married before?
never been married, no kids.
Okay. Um, so right now, pretty much social media influencer, doing um, collaborations with companies and
Yeah,
marketing things on your page.
yeah. I hate using the term influencer. I feel like that's thrown around so much, and I'm not. Not
Well,
a
I
fan.
mean, I mean, you got a pretty big following, so I
Yeah,
mean, anybody could be a social media influencer if they're, you know, if they call themselves that, but you actually have a big following from what you do, right?
yeah, I do, and I mostly talk about mental health. So if you look at
Mm-hmm.
my posts, you
Mm-hmm.
know, 60 to 70% are about mental health because that's something that is kind of close to me. So I'm glad that I can kind of use my platform to bring a little bit more awareness about depression and anxiety disorder and things like
I see. And what kind of mental health do you suffer from?
So since I was about 15, I've dealt with generalized anxiety disorder,
Mm-hmm.
bipolar depression, and pure OCD, which is just the obsessive thoughts without the actual physical manifestations, like touching a doorknob 20 times or things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I've dealt with those, and through cognitive behavioral therapy and seeing my therapist and stuff, I'm able to manage it. But it's something I'll have to deal with forever. But I try to use my platform to bring more awareness and let people know that they're not alone because it's so taboo. There's still such a stigma attached.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to kind of chip the stigma and make it more accepting. Let
Yeah,
people that
yeah,
struggle.
it's much more common than what people make it out to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, that stigma of oh, that dude's crazy or that dude's screwed up or something, stay away from him is not the way to go.
Yeah, like the stereotype of the crazy person or whatever is thankfully kind of fading away, and it's just becoming more mainstream to talk about and be open and transparent about it. And so I just hope the stigma like totally falls off. I feel like it will probably in the next 10, 15 years, because as long as there's that stigma, people aren't going to be open and honest about it. As long as they're not open and honest about it, they're going to bottle it up. And as long as they bottle it up, it's just going to exacerbate their underlying symptoms. So I feel like being open and talking about it really is the
Mhm.
first step in management and recovery.
Yeah, yeah. And has that gotten worse in the recent past few years, or has it gotten better?
For me personally,
Yeah.
there's always triggers, man. So I mean, even like just kind of being in the spotlight or like the attention that me and
Mhm.
your relationship has gotten, can tend to trigger some, my generalized anxiety. I tend to overthink things, and my obsessive thoughts are kind of like a runaway train. So certain events trigger it, but I wouldn't say overall it's
Mhm.
gotten worse. I would say I have gotten more adept and more adroit at addressing it and confronting it and nipping it in the bud. And I'm able to do that through cognitive behavioral therapy, which is basically rethinking how you interpret triggering events. So those triggering events will always be there for me, but thankfully I'm learning how to reinterpret them so they don't
Yeah.
the same emotional response that they once used to. So I feel like as time goes on, I'll I'll be able to continue to manage it. But
Yeah, I know the VA, they do something very similar to that, or they actually do that. They have you revisit old triggering events and help you overcome the scenario in a different way that makes it more positive.
it's
So that's what the VA tries to put you through for people that have been through war and things like that.
and I was reticent to try it. I did not think it would work. You know, people had been for years that I should try it. I was like rethinking how I approach situations. That's absolutely ridiculous. I thought it was gibberish. But then I met an amazing therapist online, actually, who specializes in CBT, and after 2 sessions with him, there was a huge difference, and I continued to see him for about a year over Skype, and I owe it to him, allowed me to manage it as well as I can. So CBT is awesome, and that's something else that I try to talk about a lot on my page, because I'm sure a lot of people are like me, where they're pretty leery to, or they're just suspicious of it, but it really does work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. That's really good news. Some people it works for, some people it doesn't. You need like medications and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you just avoid the whole issue altogether. Whatever triggers you, you just avoid it. So, you said the last 2 years you stopped doing dancing.
Yeah, I quit in 2017, I think it was. So about 2.5 to 3 years.
Okay. And that was, you were stripping completely naked, or were you stripping down to just your underwear?
So in Chicago, you have to have, I believe, what's called a cap license out of the venue that you would be dancing at. And with that license, all the men have to keep their bottoms on. So we would basically just be in our tight underwear, whether it's diesel or, there's a bunch of different ones. But no, we would be just in our underwear. So,
Okay.
yeah. But depending where you go, the city of Chicago, it's illegal. So.
Okay. And whenever you did any of the private parties, were you ever solicited by women to come back to their places?
Yeah, I mean, that was commonplace. It just kind of comes with the territory. Fortunately, you kind of like slowly in scene. Well, actually, that's not true. You're kind of thrown into the lion's den in the fire right off the bat. But I was able to adjust to it, and over time that became more commonplace, especially after I was on The Bachelorette and stuff like that. I got a little more exposure than most of the dancers in Chicago, just because I was on a national television show.
Yeah.
And I mean, those requests happened pretty frequently at private parties, but at private parties I didn't do full nude and never hooked up with someone. I mean, occasionally I would exchange phone numbers or give them my card, and later we might go out and go on a date and talk or whatever. But
yeah, were they mostly like bachelorettes or like bachelorette parties that you were doing it for, or just like maybe cougars or something like that decided they wanted to have some kind of party for themselves?
yeah, exactly. I'd say 80% of parties as a dancer, bachelorette or birthday parties, and then the other 20% are going to be just women wanting to have fun, a divorce party occasionally, but the vast majority are going to be bachelorette.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, you met Yolanda through social media? Still there? Losing you. Yeah. I lost them. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Nothing. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you.
Okay, so I actually met Yolanda when I was celebrating my birthday out in Vegas. So I actually ran into her on the strip and hit on her, I guess you would say. I didn't know who she was at the time. It was only later that I realized who she was. So no, it's just an in-person happens and happened to see her there, and I thought she was sexy, and so I just kind of struck up a conversation, and then I asked her if she had like a social media handle, and she gave it to me, and then later that night I slid in.
Oh, did you already watch the show by that time?
Yeah, I had seen the show. I just didn't register in my head. I mean, I'd been drinking already my birthday. I just thought she was a pretty lady standing there, and the light was like, so I was just waiting for the cross thing, and I said something to her. I think I complimented her on her eyes, and then we just kind of started talking. She laughed and receptive, so we started talking, and I kind of like asked for a handle, and she gave it to me. But at the time, nothing about the show or who she was clicked in my own head. So.
Oh, because I mean, she's pretty recognizable. I mean, by the way she dresses, especially. I mean, you could really tell she. Oh, I lost you again.
Sorry.
I lost you again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you there?
All right. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
No, in my head, nothing clicked. There threw me to her. That was a subconscious recognition of her. Like I knew her before. Maybe that's why I was drawn to say something to her, because normally I don't approach women. I'm typically pretty shy.
No.
So maybe subconsciously that recognition played into why I said something to her, but it wasn't until I actually went onto her Instagram page and I was like, oh, she's that lady from 90 Day Fiance. So that aspect of it has played such a small part in our relationship, though. It's not like we both like sit there and talk about how she was on the show and I was a bachelorette. It's a fact about each other. So it's not something we even discussed. Even once I recognized who she was, I don't even think that came up in conversation. So
yeah, was she with her kids or friends or something, or?
No, she was by herself. I was with a couple guys, but she was by herself. It's possible she maybe, not that I knew. I just saw her standing there and kind of zeroed in on her because I don't know, man. I think she's sexy. I think she looks like Halle Berry. And which is why I'm surprised that there's so much hate about why I'm with Yolanda. I feel like I could have the same thing. Why is she with me? Because I feel like she's beautiful. So it's like, why wouldn't I be with Yolanda? Because like you said, she's dress.
Yeah, she dresses like she's in her 20s.
She looks like she's in her 20s.
Yeah, I mean, she could definitely fool you if she said she was in her 30s. That's for sure. I would think.
Yeah, she does not look her age.
No, definitely not.
That's for sure. And that's why I feel like it doesn't even look weird. I feel like we don't look that far apart. So.
Do you plan on having a family or kids in the future at all? Is that something that you had? I can't hear you.
We actually have talked about that. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, but there's something wrong with your connection
Can
or
you hear
something.
me
I don't
now?
know what keeps going on.
Sorry, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I could hear you.
All right, sorry about that. What was your question?
Um, about possibly having a family in the future. What were your plans with that?
Yeah, I mean, had cursory conversations about that, nothing in depth, but we both said that we would like to have our own kids someday. I mean, I don't have any children. Obviously she does, but I would like children in the future, and she said that's something she's open to. So yeah, we've talked about it.
How do you feel about being a stepdad to 6 kids
uh,
that are about your
that's
age?
Yeah, that's a hard one because I've never been in a parental role in any capacity in my life, and I still see myself as young. I don't look at myself as 33 years old. I look at myself as a 21-year-old. I feel like that's kind of where I'm frozen at. So I don't think it would be that dynamic. I think it's all about the wave that we're on and the dynamic that we have, and I don't think it needs to be a hierarchical thing or a parental versus child thing. I think it would just be we all mutually respect each other. So I don't think that's what the vibe would be. It wouldn't be like that. I think we'd all get along. If her children are like her, they're super cool, and me and her get along amazingly. So I'm sure I'll get along with her kids as well too, unless they don't like me, which I guess is a possibility, but I haven't given it much
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
So
And have you talked to her kids at all? Have you spent any time with them?
no, my understanding is that her kids don't know who I am yet. She's had a conversation with them about me. That's my understanding. So I haven't spoken to her kids.
Yeah. Um, since the time you said you met with her in Vegas, have you seen her again in person or?
No, I haven't. I plan to fly out there though, um, in October. So hopefully soon. I'm the type of person that I've never had a long distance relationship outside of Chicago in my town because when I lived in Chicago for my hometown, but that was 2.5 hours. And so Vegas is obviously across the map from Chicago. Um,
Yeah.
Texting someone and only texting and messaging and FaceTiming um, isn't sufficient, at least not for me. And I'm sure the same goes for her and most human beings. You want physical contact, you want to be in the presence of the person. So I'm sure we'll both be exchanging flights from Chicago and Vegas, but I do plan to fly out at the end of October. So.
Oh, okay. Um, Let me see here. There are a bunch of questions that already came through. If you don't mind, keep pulling some up.
Sure.
Um, okay, I think we answered this one already. You said you met Yolanda on this trip.
Yeah.
Was it outside of any particular casino?
Yeah, Hara's.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the
Yep.
most popular ones there. All right, let me see if I can. Has she told him about Gucci, the Nigerian guy?
I don't even know who that is.
I think that's, you know about her story with Williams or whatever?
Yeah, I know about William. Yeah, and he's resurfaced and has started reaching out to her in the last few days.
You think that's her Nigerian boyfriend or something? Hey, I think that was Gucci that wrote that
Oh,
one. Hold on one second.
all right.
Gucci, are you in the chat? I think, yeah, he wrote that one. All right, I'll wait for him to come in. Maybe. How are you adjusting to all the hate as far as being in an interracial relationship?
Yeah, so a lot of it's more implicit or told. It's not often overt, but I feel like a lot of the time when someone's saying, "Why are you with her?" Just by the way they phrase it, not every case, but in a lot of them, I can sense kind of just beneath the surface is like a racial thing, and me and her have talked about it, and it's kind of like, why are you with an older black woman, is kind of how we interpret a lot of it, just with the tone and the way they're saying it. So it's like anything else, shrug it off. If people are gonna hate, that's fine. Projection of on the inside, it's not a reflection of me and Yolanda. And this isn't my first interracial relationship. My girlfriend in college was black, and my most recent ex was black as well. So it's something we're used to dealing with from both sides. It comes from both white and black people, and it's just something that you have to deal with in a world with different races and different people. That something as readily identifiable as race is going to be noticed and talked about, and it's just like anything else. We just kind of laugh it off, just like the ageism. So
yeah, somebody did mention that interracial relationships are more common now.
yeah.
Have there been any complications during the getting to know each other process?
No, I mean, we haven't. There's nothing. We both text quite often. We're both available for video chats most of the time. She's busy a lot during the day for her online boutique. I'm busy during the day. I do invest, which goes back to your previous question. With the money I do a lot of investing in the market, and I was lucky and started when the market bottomed out in March coronavirus. So I have been busy with that. So we're both busy. We both respect that. So we don't text nonstop during the day, but in the late afternoon and evening times, we've kind of learned that that's when the other person's available. Other than kind of becoming familiar with the other schedule and learning how to navigate the long distance thing, we haven't encountered any huge problems, but still a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Let's see here. Do you like spending time with Yolanda and her kids? Well, you already mentioned about the kids part, but I guess the only time you spend with her is on video chat.
Yeah, seen her in video chat or even really talked about them with her, so it's kind of a moot issue at this point.
I see. Are you under or plan to be under contract with TLC?
No, with them, we haven't heard anything from anyone. They asked me, Josh, if you're a decoy sent in by the producers at TLC, please tell us now, because Yolanda's a great woman and you shouldn't con her. I have had no contact with TLC or any of its producers, and I don't know where she stands. This isn't a publicity stunt. This isn't something initiated. I have nothing to do with it.
I see. And do you consider Yolanda your actual girlfriend right now, or is it just like your boo thing, or somebody that you're just seeing online?
No, I mean, it's so hard to categorize and taxonomize a relationship and kind of dealing with the title of it all. I think we came to kind of a mental meeting of minds early on that we're a relationship, and that we're together. It's not something we explicitly talk about every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's our title and what are each other? It's we're together. It's clear to us. I understand that to an outsider, it's a little nebulous what we are, but yeah, we're together and we're a couple. So.
Okay. I don't know. Did you ever take a picture when you met with her at the strip?
No. No, I was to get her Instagram handle, and that was the extent.
Somebody wrote something in Polish. Dlaczego jest tu taka fajna atmosfera? That means like, why are you in such a nice atmosphere? I don't know. Um, and there's one last one here. So, I mean, if you guys have any other questions, just type it in below. There's a little question mark thing. How do you get along with Yolanda kids? He already answered that before. He hasn't talked to them before. Let's see here. I had a few other ones I wrote down. Do you plan on maybe being on any type of reality show again in the future if you were given an opportunity?
I mean, a lot of people have asked that. There's the Sun Times actually asked me that, and then they spun it in a disingenuous way. They asked me, "Would you be on the show?" And I said that would be cool. I would love to show her off, so I have nothing against it. Spun it to Cider would love to be on TLC, which is not what I stitched two separate sentences together. But again, the same answer I gave the Sun Times. If I was asked to be on the show, I would have no reason to say no. I'm proud of her. I'd be proud to show her off. I wouldn't be against appearing on it. Open to it. But if they were going to try to make us look bad or spin a certain narrative that I didn't think was congruent with how we really are together, and they're kind of trying to relationship, then yeah, I would be ready to appear on TV. So I would want our real true story to be told, or we to appear on TLC. I wouldn't want it to be some manufactured storyline. So yeah, if it was a transparent thing, I would have no issue with being on TLC. But again, that's not something that me and her talk about. And her time on TLC and my time on The Bachelorette is not something we talk about. We're two people that are together, so we talk about normal things like how was your day, I miss you, things like that.
Yeah. So. Or are you on OnlyFans?
Yeah, I have an OnlyFans, and that's something that I actually was blessed. I've done really well with it, and in fact, I'm one of the top creators on there. I'm in the top 3%, and I was lucky. I've made north of $250,000 in the last 2 years off of it. And so that's something that I it's not something I advertise, but yeah. I'm on OnlyFans.
Now, there are a lot of thirsty women out there that probably DM you on OnlyFans asking for like certain pictures. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean that's commonplace. The same thing happens on all platforms. But yeah, it happens.
And how does Yolanda feel about you doing that still?
That's not something we've talked about. So I guess after this interview, she'll maybe ask me. I don't think she's a.
She might be in here. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. Did you tell her that you'd be on?
Yeah, I told her I was doing an interview. I did not say who it was with. And I know right now she's done. So I don't think she's watching.
Okay. And do you have like a Patreon or other social media that you're on besides Instagram?
No, just Instagram. I don't have a Facebook or Twitter, or I don't even have a private personal Facebook. But just Instagram. I've been on Instagram for a few years now with a large following, so I focus most of my time. So.
And on the OnlyFans, is that primarily like taking photos like in swimsuits or in posing for photography or stuff like that? What kind of content are you producing?
You kind of hit the nail on the head. A lot of it is like artistic, I guess you'd say artistic nudes from professional photo shoots, or it's really, you'd have to subscribe. It's content that you can't get elsewhere. So I would have to subscribe to find out. I'm not going to delve into the details of what I post, but I'm sure most people are aware of what's on there. So
Yeah. Let me see. I got a ton of questions in now. Oh my goodness. Have you kissed Yolanda yet? Well,
no.
all right. There's some of the things you and Yolanda have in common.
We have a very similar worldview. How we see things, how we think things should be, how we approach life is very similar, and that's why I said earlier we kind of have had a meeting of the minds. So there's definitely a cerebral connection between me and her, and I think why we get along so well is kind of have energy, and so just that alone has made, like, nothing feels forced. There's no effort between us. Everything's just kind of natural. So that's why the age is irrelevant. And a lot of others that people would think would be ill to us just aren't, because we're kind of like cut from the same cloth in terms of how we see things. So yeah, we have a lot in common because our worldview is so similar.
What is she looking for in a future with you?
I mean, what she's told me, I'm a mind reader, but what she's told me is that she wants a family. She wants to get married. I don't want to speak for her. It's the same thing that I want, and I think most human beings is we want to get married, and we want to have a family of our own, and we want to be with the other person, and so that's where we're at.
Wow, I'm getting a ton of requests. Are you planning on having kids?
Yeah, we talked about it. I told her I want a daughter, and she said she'd give me that. So,
She would give you that?
yeah.
But I don't even know. I don't know how old she is from my memory. I think she's like in her mid-50s.
She said she would.
What's that? I can't hear anything anymore. Uh-oh.
Yeah, correct. You're correct.
Okay. Yeah, you're kind of cutting out
I
a
just
lot,
said you're correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so how do you expect to have kids when she's in her 50s?
Can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you a little bit, but it's cutting out a lot.
Is the
No.
Look, man, I'm not a doctor. I went to law school, not medical school, so
Yeah.
I can't, sit here and dissect what age to give birth at. But I mean, that's not so. I'm not clairvoyant. I can't predict the future, but that's something that we both want, and that, I mean, childbirthing years.
But
And things
come
like
on,
that,
man.
but
You just, I mean, me and you, we're the same age, kind of, sort of. Like, she's in her 50s. I mean, it's really not possible. It's like a needle in a haystack possibility at this point.
look, it's a needle in a haystack that a kid from Central Illinois could do what I did and accomplish, get a law degree. I came from a neighborhood where most people ended up in jail or in probation or something. I got my law degree by the age of 24. I have 250,000 followers, and I do what I want. So I don't let anything limit me, or outside opinions limit me, or the naysayers kind of dictate what I do. If you want something, it can happen. So instead of looking at the 10 reasons why something can't happen. I try to look at the million reasons why it can. There's multiple ways that you can have children, and I think lots of people are thinking very much and narrowly. And I think they kind of need to broaden the way they're thinking and approaching. So.
Yeah. Do you see the question there? What are your favorite body parts about each other?
I like her eyes and her lips. She looks like Halle Berry to me.
Yeah, she kind of gives that aura a little bit. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, she got that Halle Berry.
Uh-oh, we got a hater in here. So why don't you admit that you just want to be famous? Just be honest. Come on. What do you say to that?
Yeah. It's just something that it's hard to even respond to something like that. I have a quarter followers, and I've dedicated the last 3 years talking about mental health issues. Famous, I wouldn't be doing that, and I wouldn't be doing it with someone that I have more followers than. So if you're gonna ask a question, just a cursory look at it reveals how dumb it is, because she has 70,000 followers and I have 230,000. So how am I going to get famous from her? It doesn't even make sense. It literally fails the most elementary.
Mr. Las Vegas says she didn't know who you were until I told her on Instagram. I feel like I introduced you guys. You still there?
Here, can you hear me?
Yeah, still something wrong with the connections again. I can't hear anything. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're kind of lagging and there's a loss of sound. But I don't know. I don't know if you know who Mr. Las Vegas is. He sounds like he knows who you are.
Yeah, I think he's a follower of mine. I know the comment he's referring to. She had posted my picture, and she had said, "Who's this?" Facetiously, she said, "Who's this?" She knew who I was, obviously. And she said, "Who's this?" And he commented with my Instagram handle and said, "This is Josh Sider." And so thinks that he understandably believes that he was, but he doesn't know that she had that post facetiously, and obviously we had already met. So
okay. Do you think the 90-Day Fiance will ruin your relationship?
I think reality TV in general tends to have a destructive effect on relationships, because anytime you put it in front of people, they start acting differently, and it makes things exceedingly difficult. Imagine trying to live your normal life and there's cameras in your face and 10 million people watching. It's going to make things more complicated. So I think they tend to have a deleterious effect on relationships, but I don't think it would destroy us. I think that our because relationship is real, and because we are in a real relationship, adding a camera to it, I don't think it would negate it in any way. I don't think it would, but
just a remark, he must be more handsome than Williams.
thank you.
Is Yolanda your sugar mama?
I think they're conflating the term sugar mama with people being in a relationship when there's an age difference. Does not ipso facto mean that she's making more money than me or that she's supporting me financially. Again, I've been very blessed to have done well for myself through both social media and OnlyFans and investing in the stock market. So I think that part's.
Are you a short seller, or do you do options, or What's your preferred way?
Oh, I invest in both mutual funds and stocks, and that's what I do. I don't do like that are more high risk.
I see. Josh, can you
mostly securities to answer your questions. That's what you're going to get most of the mutual funds I'm invested in.
Yeah. Those are safer.
Yeah.
Josh, can you speak on Ball Drop, and if there is a follow-up book, will you include your new spouse?
Yeah, so I also have a book that I wrote. It's a memoir based on through law school, and it's called Ball Drop under a pen name, Joshua Andrew. And so, yeah, I put that book out like a year ago, and it's available on lulu.com. So I'm sure I'll eventually write another book. I love writing. I love writing that book. It was onerous. It took a toll on me. Writing a book is no easy feat. Getting it published is no easy feat, but be totally open to writing another book. Yeah.
All right. There's another one. Josh, is it true you both are fluid with your sexuality?
Is she fluid with hers? I wasn't aware of that.
I have no idea.
No, I just don't speak on issues like that. I feel like it just creates I don't think it's productive to talk about it. So I just love who I love, and at this moment, I'm in with her. So I'm sure everyone's sexuality is on a continuum. I think most sexuality's been proven to be on a continuum, and because of that, it means it's fluid. So in that respect, we're all fluid with our sexuality. But I don't subscribe to labels, and I don't subscribe to like this saying I'm this or that. It's just I'm Josh. I'm me. So yeah.
Have you been in any porn?
Nick.
That's good. That'll definitely mess with your mental health.
Yeah.
Does he stand behind the statements he and Brian Hahn made in the Dear Black People videos? All right.
That's nonsense. What's the next question?
Does Yolanda know you made a series of videos, Dear Black People, and what does she think about them? Oh,
this is the same troll talking about an irrelevant issue. Thank you. I appreciate it, little swag.
Do you guys plan on meeting up with one another more to see if the full chemistry is there?
Yeah.
And that's October-ish, right?
Yes. I think that's. I mean, I don't see how any relationship can exist without the physical aspect of it. So.
Was he an exotic dancer? Yes, he was. He answered that before. How old is Yolanda? Can she have kids? She was 51 during the filming of the TV show, so I'm pretty sure she's at least 52 now. If you and Yolanda have met, why haven't y'all kissed? Well, he answered that before.
I believe in just kissing women at crosswalks when I first meet them, so that definitely couldn't have happened.
And when you meet her again, you're gonna give her a nice big smooch, or what's going on?
Yeah, of course. It's gorgeous, man. I mean, she's sexy to me. So obviously, not being able to be in person with each other.
Ooh. Does Yolanda subscribe to your OnlyFans?
No.
Um, so let me see here. Did you ended up going and finishing your law school?
Yeah, I did my JD. It's called a Juris Doctor, so that's a law degree. And I graduated in May of 2013 from Chicago Kent College of Law, and that's actually um, where we filmed the Bachelorette filmed my introduction at my law school shortly after I had graduated, about a year and a half. So I'm still in contact with a lot of the attorneys there. That they're also instructors, but there's also a law firm run out of the law offices at my old law school. And they always ask to practice law or take the bar and things like that. So I'm for the idea of taking the bar in 2019. But we'll see what happens. I mean, my parents want me to take it. They're like, "Are you going to take the bar exam? You went to school, you spent all that money on an education." But on my last year of law school, I just felt like law was not for me. It's a lot of case law research. It's hours and hours. We're talking up to 120 hours a week of working in most law firms. Just search on LexisNexis law data, and that's not something I wanted to do. And luckily I got into dancing, and then from dancing it set me on this to where I'm at now, and I'm really good. So
Yeah, that's definitely something you need to capitalize on. How much? I mean, the law school is what, like $50,000-$60,000 a year or something crazy like that?
yeah, it would come out to about that. I mean, I had to take loans out that I'm paying on, but yeah, it costs 2 years, so it's about probably $70K a year.
You're gonna have to use all that OnlyFans money to pay that back.
Hey, got to. I'm telling you.
Now I know why you got into the position you got into, bro. Because you had bills. I don't blame you. Gotta do.
Man, I honestly got because I had to pay my rent, and I was interning full time. And when you intern in law school, you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
And so I had no. I was in my second year of law school. I was dead broke, and I needed a weekend job paid well. And luckily, the lady that cut my hair was like fanatical about the fact that I needed to become a stripper, and so she actually applied for and sent in the app with my pictures for me because I told her I was too scared and nervous, and I ended up getting hired. So.
Were there any, like, your exotic dance bar, were there any like LGBT nights or anything that you had to dance at? Was that common?
Yeah, and I mean, most of our shows were all women, but guys were allowed to come. They weren't, prohibited. So, women made up the majority of it, but there were guys there. We never had specific LGBTQ nights, but it was just like everyone can come. We're all human beings, and it's entertainment, man. It's like funny. I don't think anyone took it too seriously. I mean, we were male strippers on a stage on a Saturday night, and everyone's drunk, so
Yeah.
it was what it was. Everyone enjoys men or women, so.
Yeah. Damn, I'm getting a lot of freaking questions again. All right, 1 second.
And I have about 2 more minutes. I don't mean to cut you short at all, but I do have to be somewhere. So I have like 2 more minutes. So please ask away at the questions, and I'll try to answer.
Yeah, go ahead. Is OnlyFans lucrative? What are your other income sources other than day trading?
Well, I don't day trade, but I trade during the day. Day trade is a very specific term of high risk investing. But besides trading, besides OnlyFans, I have my shorts line coming out with thigh huggers in about 2 weeks. So I have my own line of shorts, and I also do partner collaborations.
Yeah, the thigh hugger thing. I'll make sure to plug it in on the title of the video.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah. How long have you and Yolanda been dating, and will you be on 90 Day Fiance?
We've been dating about a month now. We'll talk for a month. And yes, we're together. So dating for however long, but we met a month ago, and I can't. I hope I'll be on 90 Day Fiance. I guess it would be possible if they were to feature her. I would probably be on it, but I really can't say one or the other.
Yeah. And you're there's one second. There's a question about the age difference here.
Yeah.
What is the age difference?
A lot of people have been asking her age. She's 52. I'm 33. So it's a 19-year age difference.
When did you turn 33?
August.
Okay, cool.
August 18th.
So I mean, it's less than 20 years. It's like 19 years, something like that, right?
Yeah.
One sec. There's too many coming in. I'm trying to pick up. Will you guys spend time alone whenever you fly out to Las Vegas?
I hope so. That's the goal. That's the objective. So I would certainly think so. But I know she has her kids, so we'll see how that goes.
This is Williams. No, this is not Williams. This is.
But he is reaching out to her, and he was actually threats the other day. So I don't know who this guy is or why he keeps coming back in the picture, but he seems pretty dogged and persistent. But
All right. Who is Yolanda? I'm lost. Yolanda is his girlfriend or his boo.
said Jolanda would be me and her. That's the Brangelina.
All right. Yeah, there's less than 40 seconds. So I'm just going to get off here because you got to go. So I appreciate you taking this time and speaking with me. I'm gonna post your info on the new short line that you have coming out on my description. So just send that over to me whenever you have an opportunity. All right, man.
Well, thank you